giving me an opportunity to share few of my experiences with you. Integrated management.
Ma'am, your voice not audible, ma'am.
One second, ma'am. I think I have some issues here. Now is it audible? Is it clear now?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my experiences with non-communicable diseases of this World Heart Day. So first of all, what is non-communicable diseases? So just to brief a few slides, and then we will come to the discussion about what is the multifactorial, multi-sectoral involvement management of this non-communicable diseases, which is almost affecting more than 70% of world population at present. So non-communicable diseases, these are the diseases which refers to the conditions that occur in or known to affect individuals for an extensive period of time and for which there are no causative agents that are transmitted from one affected individual to another. To make it more simple, the cause of the disease are multifactorial and it is a chronic disease. The chronic disease means the disease is not just limited to few weeks or days. It goes on and on for years. It is also now because of the rapid globalization, we are finding this disease to be also called as a lifestyle disease. So the global prevalence of non-communicable diseases is increasing with greatest burden in developing countries.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Ma'am, now? Now is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Non-communicable diseases began to become a major problem, especially in the industrial countries initially. But now it is seen almost in all the countries, right from underdeveloped to developing developed countries. Almost 70% of all the deaths globally and three-quarters of these deaths occur in low and middle income countries. An estimated 7.9 million lives are lost annually because of non-communicable diseases. That is almost 55% of Southeast Asian region contributes to this. And globally, cardiovascular diseases, chronic respiratory diseases, diabetes, cancer are the four major non-communicable diseases. And this is no different even for Southeast Asia. According to WHO, an estimated of 70 million people died of cardiovascular disease in 2015. The numbers are increasing day by day. And for coming to India, India is the capital of diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases are the most common cause of deaths due to non-communicable diseases in India. So almost, and another very common non-communicable disease is cancer, which is accounted for up to 56% of estimated deaths in the developing world. So why is it so difficult that we need so much of sectors into action to prevent this, to take care of these diseases, to keep it under good control? Is because we have a lot of gaps in the natural history of this non-communicable diseases, because there is no clear known agent. Like if it is for infectious diseases, we have, like example, tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. We know what is the causatively, but agent. But coming to non-communicable diseases, there is no known agent, which is because almost everybody is exposed to the same environment. Why few are having and few are not having? This is still a question mark. It has a long latent period. So what is the meaning of long latent period is from the time the patient develops the first symptom to the complications. The spectrum of diseases is very different for different people. It is not the same for different individuals. It varies from person to person, and it varies even among men and women. And it also has an indefinite onset. Most non-communicable diseases are slow in onset and development. So there, there are almost 70% of people who won't even be knowing that they are suffering from some diseases. It comes to light only when they have some complications. So it has an that is what they mean by telling that indefinite onset. So what are the common risk factors? When we come to non-communicable diseases, the risk factors are almost like interlinked for many of the diseases, whether it is diabetes, whether it is obesity, whether it is cardiovascular diseases, whether it is hypertension. And so some of the risk factors include non-modifiable risk factors like age.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Your voice is breaking, ma'am. Not clear.
Now can you hear?
Now okay, ma'am. Now okay.
Okay. So coming to the common risk factors, it can be divided into non-modifiable and modifiable. So what are the non-modifiable risk factors at age? So we are seeing different non-communicable diseases which are more prevalent in certain age group individuals, and it is different. Even it is differs with sex, and family history also contributes, and genetic factors and personality. Coming to personality, what we mean is we know everybody is aware of type A personality. People are very anxious and all those things. These people have more risk of development of non-communicable diseases. So what are the modifiable communicable diseases? Risk factors for the non-communicable diseases are cigarettes, alcohol abuse, dyslipidemia, sedentary lifestyle, stress, environmental risk factors. In the environment risk factors, we include both air pollution, noise pollution, environmental pollution, and there is we also have inability to avail to preventive health care in many areas, especially in the rural areas. And now, so this is what is depicted in this picture. So the non-communicable diseases include cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, or cancer. So the causative factors, if you see for all these, are almost the same: tobacco use, alcohol, then raised blood glucose, decreased vegetable and fruit intake, raised cholesterol, obesity, physical inactivity, high blood pressure. These are very much interlinked with each other to cause the disease. There are a lot of social determinants of health also. We know that poverty, poor housing, unemployment, inadequate food and nutrition, lack of education, environmental health, all add on to the development of these non-communicable diseases. So non-communicable diseases which are common in younger age group include accidents and injuries, rheumatic heart disease, diabetes, blindness, and psychiatric disorders. Coming to the elderly, hypertension, chronic heart disease, diabetes, stroke, malignancies, obesity, blindness, psychiatric disorders are very common.
Excuse me, ma'am. I think your voice is very vague. So can you please keep your mic on your mouth? Please keep your mic near to your mouth, ma'am. Your voice is very less and breaking.
Now, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it better than before? Hello?
Ma'am?
Can you hear now? Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Please raise your voice, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So coming to coronary heart disease or cardiovascular diseases, so it is the problem statement here is like it accounts for around 30% of deaths in men and 25% of deaths in female in Western countries. The Indian scenario is also the same. It is one of the leading cause of death and disability in our country. And by the year 2025, the numbers are going to increase. It is dreadfully increasing as such. So what are the different presentations what we see in cardiovascular diseases is angina or very more angina, myocardial infarction. These are most commonly known as heart attack and arrhythmia. These are to tell in a very simple way, these are rhythm disturbances. There are disturbances in the heart rate which will cause affect the individual. Okay. There are and most common other causes cardiac failure, and there are sudden deaths which is also known. Okay. So, what are the predisposing factor or the factors which uh, makes an individual to get cardiovascular diseases? Age, like first, as I said before, also the non-modifiable risk factors like age. Age groups between 50 to 60 years are more predisposed to cardiovascular diseases, and it is more common among men than women. And people with family history have more predisposition to cardiovascular diseases. And of course, genetic factors also play a major role because they are not only they are predisposed people to have high cholesterol and high cholesterol in the sense high levels of bad cholesterol and low levels of good cholesterol. These are the factors which predispose an individual to have cardiovascular diseases. And coming to the modifiable risk factors, like very commonly seen is cigarette smoking. We know that cigarette smoking is most dangerous for people because it can cause conditions like hypertension uh, and diabetes as well. And it decreases the good cholesterol level. And yeah, as when we smoke, very commonly we have that there is need for increased oxygenation. When we need increased oxygenation, the body responses, it tries to produce lot of blood cells. If you see in a person who's smoking, usually the hemoglobin count would be little more. This is because they are in a state of chronic hypoxia. Chronic hypoxia in the sense they are in a state where they see long term their oxygen level in the blood is low. So what this defense mechanism in our body is, it produces more and more blood cells so that we get enough oxygenation. Even high amount of hemoglobin, which is above the given limit for a men or women, is dangerous. These also can block the blood vessels. And coming to another risk, what we have with cigarette smoking is the cigarette smoking causes the blood vessels to constrict. It causes vasoconstrictive effect. Means that the blood which has to go in the tube, the size of the blood vessels is just like a tube. So that the size of the tube shrinks when we smoke. Okay. Then the next common risk factor is hypertension. And other risk factors like increased cholesterol levels. Another there's a protein in the body that is homocysteine. That the levels when the levels are high, it also damages the arteries. And diabetes, as we know, 2 to 3 times people among diabetes are more prone to cardiovascular diseases. Obesity associated with high cholesterol, hypertension, and diabetes. In exercise, lack of exercise leads to accumulation of high bad cholesterol and low levels of good cholesterol. We need good cholesterol to maintain our cardiovascular health. So when there is decrease in good cholesterol, we are predisposed to have risk for cardiovascular disease. And in females, like people who are taking oral contraceptive things, these are also it causes hyperestrogenemia. That is an hormone, female hormone. When the hormone level increases, they in turn cause blood clots in the body, so affecting people to have cardiovascular. Type A personality. These are the persons who are very restless, impatient, irritable, short-tempered. They have a sense of urgency in all, in every activity. These people are definitely predisposed to cardiovascular diseases. Alcohol, amount, high intake of alcohol is also a risk factor for cardiovascular health. And there is also a thing that when we consume a lot of soft water, because the soft water they lack in essential minerals, which is needed for maintaining the equilibrium in the body. So when we consume soft water, there is lack of minerals, and this is also a predisposing factor for cardiovascular diseases. And there is also, as we said before, environmental factors like chronic exposure to noise above 110 decibels increases serum cholesterol levels, and as I said before, again increased cholesterol level is also a predisposing factor for cardiovascular disease. And there are pretty good amount of over-the-counter drugs used by people for the sake of weight reduction and all. These are also dangerous for our heart. So what we can do for prevention of cardiovascular diseases? Coming to the cardiovascular diseases, we can address it even before we get the diseases. That is, even before we start developing any symptoms or signs, we can take some preventive measures so that we will have less chances of development of cardiovascular diseases. So this prevention, the primordial prevention, is directed towards discouraging the children from adopting harmful lifestyles such as smoking and changing their eating patterns, engaging them in a lot of physical activities, and abstaining them from alcoholism. The main intervention for these is through mass education. The primary prevention, so this consists of elimination of the risk factors, modifiable risk factors, with following approach. First, we have a population approach, and the population approach is includes dietary changes. So we have through mass education, media, we have to encourage people to have a lot of saturated, high fiber food and decrease the amount of intake of saturated fats. And we have to have a mass education about smoking, how it causes cardiovascular disease, and how hazardous it is to the lifestyle. Okay. And also we should take decreased salt so that we can prevent high blood pressure, and to engage people in a lot of physical activities so that we are having less chances of cardiovascular diseases. Next is high risk strategy. This consists of identifying at-risk group persons for cardiovascular diseases and providing prevention. So this is more individualistic. So we know that men between 50 or 60 are more exposed to more predisposed to cardiovascular diseases. So our target population will be these people. So we'll go and individualize. We have to assess what are the risk factors they have in their family. What are the other environmental factors, and these are addressing high risk strategy. So secondary prevention is, and what is secondary prevention is the prevention. Already a person has now diagnosed with diabetes or obesity, or he's having a amount of cardiovascular diseases. So what we do here is we involve people to take care of them to prevent recurrence of cardiovascular diseases, cessation of smoking, regularly taking medicines is the main focus. Another common cardiovascular diseases is stroke. The stroke means like people have paralysis, like one part of the body is not involved. Different parts of the body which can be affected due to stroke. Right from losing a vision to losing an inability to use their limbs into stroke. And this is also very common in developed countries, as well as the numbers are increasing in developed
மேம்
countries.
உங்கள் வாய்ஸ் வந்து கிளியரா இல்லை, அது கேட்க மாட்டேங்குது மேம் சரியா.
கொஞ்சம் விட்டு பாருங்க.
இப்போ மேம் இப்போ கேக்குதுங்களா மேம்?
கேக்குது, பட் இடையில கிளியரா இல்ல மேம், பிரேக் ஆகுது மேம் வாய்ஸ். அந்த மைக் கொஞ்சம் பக்கத்துல வச்சு பேசுங்க மேம்.
Okay. Mindless. So, இப்போ மேம் கேக்குதுங்களா?
பேசுங்க மேம்.
Okay. So what other thing is stroke, as I said, stroke. In developed countries, we can see the incidence of stroke is more elderly population, but in countries like India, we are seeing increased number of cases even among young people. So next, coming to diabetes, I'm just touching on all the diseases, names, brief introduction of them. So diabetes, so next common cause. So what it can cause? What are the complications which are associated with diabetes? It can affect any part of the body. Mainly, it affects the blood vessels. So the blood vessels in the body is divided into macrovascular, or it is also called as the big vessels, or microvascular, or the small vessels which supply eye, kidney, and nerves. Big blood vessels include the blood vessels which carry blood to brain, heart, and extremities in the sense legs, wrists, and all. So, what is the major complications of diabetes in brain is, as I said, stroke. People have even cognitive impairment because of macrovascular affection due to diabetes. In heart, people with heart attack, it can cause cardiac failure. And coming to the extremities, lower limbs or upper limbs, we see there is loss of limbs, there are a lot of wounds, there is which leads to all amputation. They are end up almost there. And coming to the eye complications, we have it affects the eye sight. There are people who lose their eyesight because of this diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes, and it is also one of the major cause of kidney failure. It can also affect. So we have seen many people with diabetes who keep on complaining they have some burning sensation in the food, or they don't feel any sensation. These are the ways that diabetes affects. Next, other major complications which is associated with amputation, heart diseases, then blindness, kidney failure, and stroke. Another non-communicable disease is hypertension, which is a silent killer. Most of the time, we don't even know that we have high blood pressure. That's why it's called a silent killer. And nowadays, there is a lot of campaign to check our blood pressures as we check our sugars frequently using home monitors and all. So it is a global burden is around 10 to 20% of the global population is affected by hypertension. And Indian scenario is also the same. And most commonly affected is the scenario as well as in. The major complication is almost the same like diabetes. It affects the vision, it affects cause stroke, it can cause diseases and other blood vessel diseases. Another very common and which is increasing day to day is obesity. The magnitude of the problem is too high in our country. So, what are the major risks associated with obesity? It is, as I said before, almost it looks like the repetition of whatever I'm saying, because all these non-communicable diseases have very similar presentations as well, have similar risk factors and similar complications. We can obesity is a major cause for diabetes. It can cause hypertension. It can cause cardiovascular diseases and hypertension. Obesity is also a major cause for sleep apnea. It means we have come across people who snore or who fall asleep even during the daytime when they are doing activity. So the main cause is obesity. It causes a lot of social stigma also, and it's a major cause of social disability. Then another non-communicable disease which is more prevalent among young ages, Parkinson's. And another another blindness. Blindness is also very common, non-communicable disease in a country like India because we have very few health care facilities for especially the rural population to approach. And the major cause of blindness in the country is cataract, which is very easily curable with simple operation. But people are not able to access the facility. Though there are many people who are doing on the basis of charity, NGO is mobilizing people to do cataract surgeries so that they can have a good vision. Another very common cause of blindness in our country is nutrition. There is lack of nutrition, especially vitamin A in children, which causes refractive errors, blindness, and which leads to uncorrected refractive errors. It also causes blindness in our country, and it can cause high blood pressure, that is glaucoma, and another injuries to eyes can cause corneal opacity, which also causes the person to lose his vision. Another next non-communicable disease is malignancy. We know this, that the cases are increasing day to day, and everywhere we can see there are some persons who are suffering from cancer. I think somebody somewhere in your country, we have heard about cancer. It is so dreadful. It is not dreadful just for the person, it is dreadful even for the persons who are at home, and even for the persons who are taking care of them, including the healthcare facilities and talking about it. So the most common malignancies worldwide is lung cancer, breast cancer, and colorectal cancer. And the most three common killers of this are carcinomas of lung, stomach, and liver. In India, carcinoma of cervix is most common. And other psychiatric disorders, sorry. With increasing stress in day-to-day life, psychiatric disorders are affecting more significant attention. We are seeing a lot of news in the media, groups, WhatsApp groups, and all. There are increasing cases of suicide, and this is because of depression. All the changes in the lifestyle, day-to-day lifestyle, is a major risk factor for development of psychiatric disorders. And it is prevalent in almost all the groups, in all age groups. I mean, it is more common what we are seeing the day-to-day because of the advancement in healthcare. We find there is increase in life expectancy, and this life expectancy has increased the number of people living with elderly age too, and this has led to many of the psychiatric issues, especially like people with cognitive impairment. Um, so very common among the elderly is Alzheimer's, dementia, insomnia, irritability. These all need special attention so that we have a less stressful. So other non-communicable diseases which is very common among elderly are arthritis, osteoporosis, chronic respiratory diseases like chronic bronchitis, emphysema, or asthma. This is what many people who have disease generally termed as like asthma. Not all diseases are asthmatic. Not all asthmatic are going to be these chronic respiratory diseases. These diseases can be well controlled if we approach the healthcare facility, take necessary actions. And other as the number of diabetes and so are the number of diseases in our country. And chronic liver disease. Chronic liver diseases, it means that liver failure, which is very common among alcoholics. And because of noise pollution and all that, we are coming across young environmental persons. So what we can do to prevent and control loss of this non-communicable diseases? So we have to go in a step-by-step method. So as I said previously, the primary prevention is basically the area of interest is for healthy people. we can take certain precautions so that we don't develop these diseases. And the next level of prevention is called as secondary prevention or tertiary prevention. These are for already what diseased individuals. So planning is not just by healthcare. It involves a lot of community participation, and if we have multidisciplinary teams and comprehensive interventions, this is what is needed for getting good outcome. So, like these are all are almost repetitions. All have very common risk factors, non-modifiable or not those things. So we need people who will address to uh, each levels, and these each levels of intervention, we need different sectors of people to help us decrease as well as prevent non-communicable disease in infections. So the cautious sign change. What and all is the cause is the area where we have to go and treat. Like if we have some behavior risk factors like tobacco, alcohol, physical inactivity, nutrition, we need a set of people who will go and address this risk factor, who will bring about behavioral changes. This is mainly by mass education, a lot of media coming up with their messages in form of plays, in messages. We have to take messages. The government has to plan for necessary actions so that we have this reach to prevent people from going to these habits like tobacco usage in the form of smoking or even the prescription weed or alcohol. And we need government to intervene in all levels as well as the sectors also, so that they can create more spaces around us, so that we can have lots of physical activity, so that children, especially in schools and all, will have good playground and a lot of physical activities so the kids can have a healthy lifestyle from early life. And also focus also should be given about nutrition. In our country, we have a lot of nutritional plans where people are giving sort of healthy diet to especially the pregnant and children who are up to 6 years, in Anganwadis and all. And they do provide safe needs to have a balanced nutrition for kids in these schools. I think this should be more open to other people so that they can also have good nutrition like us. And coming to the physiological risk factors, this is more individualistic, and this is where we have to encourage people to have their regular blood pressure check, sugar, glucose check, cholesterol check, especially people who are already predisposed. Like we know that there is somebody in the family who is already diabetic or hypertensive or cardiovascular, suffering from cardiovascular disease. We should encourage these people to go for regular health checkups. And as a part of any speaking, I know you all will be going and giving a lot of health education to the people. This must be emphasized to all, especially in the rural area. Many people are not aware that they have to go for regular checkup even if they are not otherwise unhealthy. And we need people from all the sectors who need to support us to bring manage people who are already having faced these diseases like heart disease or stroke or diabetes or cancer, these diseases. Coming to the healthcare facility, in healthcare facility is a multi multi-sectoral approach. It's not just the treating physician who's involved in the care of we have like for example, we take diabetes. We have a doctor who's going to treat the patient. We have a nutritionist who's going to treat support the nutrition aspect of diabetes. We have a physical trainer who will tell about needs for regular physical exercises and workouts. And we have people who will take care of the food. Uh, Food is very important thing which has to be addressed in any diabetic patients. Everybody has to take care of their food because it is usually I feel it is the most neglected part because most of them even don't even wear their chappals. They don't take care of their health. They don't keep their legs also well moisturized, which can prevent a lot of complications. Complications in the sense even prevent losing their food. Taking good care of food is very, very, very important in any cardiovascular health, including diabetes. And so we have people who tell the importance of proper usage of footwear. There are people who design specific footwear for different people. No footwear is the same, and the need of footwear is not the same for every individual. It has to be very much individualized because when we walk, we have different pressure points. These pressure points are the places where we develop corns or we have cracks. So these can be addressed by using appropriate footwear. So this set of people take care of good footwear policies, and we have people who end up with complications, losing their limb and all. We have a set of rehabilitative people who take care of their by giving their prosthetic limbs for the person who have lost their foot and the foot and the limbs due to this diabetes or any other disease. So it is not the non-communicable diseases. It's not a single man approach to get good outcomes. It involves lot of multi-sector acting upon to get good outcomes to the people. It not we just need not work just to remove the reduce the mortality. We have to reduce the morbidity. We have to reduce the suffering of the people around us. People who are suffering from these diseases. So and see, it is not like like only one sex of people who are working for in like the cause. It involves lot of. I feel the first foremost thing which is essential in a country like India is a good government. A good government can bring changes anywhere, everywhere. So when we have good preventive aspect right from the base, right from the birth, we can make sure that the number of patients is reduced. Addressing the nutrition from even before the child is born to during the early age, during the school days to concentrate on physical activities and giving them good healthy diet. We have a lack of access to these. There are only particular set of people who go to government schools, but there are other people even in private schools or places where they don't have access to good balanced nutrition. I think these measures of just providing a good balanced nutrition to all the kids, irrespective of whether it is government or non-government institution, makes a lot of change in children. So this will indeed prevent later on development of cardiovascular or any health as such. And another thing is we have people who, I mean, almost nowadays restricted to very small group. We are restricted to all media. We are not exposed to any physical activities. I feel everywhere there should be an I mean, access. Like not everybody can access to places of physical training and all. So this should be more widely available so that many people can access to it. So these measures can come only if we have a good governance which can provide this. And it is also the responsibility of people, all of us, to maintain it in a good way and also make use of it for our own benefit. And next, the most common diseases and risk factor which I think tobacco, tobacco consumption, whether it's in any form has its own hazards. And most commonly, what we are seeing is smoking. we have to have strict laws which prevent people from smoking in public, or so that though we have rules, I can see only on the post smoking in the areas, but I don't think anybody is following proper rules and all those things. So we as a public should make sure that people follow these strict rules which is imposed by the government. And alcohol also. Uh, See, they say that, very commonly everybody asks that they say that alcohol consumption in moderate is good for health. See, it is good for health, but who stops at that minimal level? I don't think so. There are very few who stop, who knows their limit. So better to avoid alcohol. That is what I believe. And So, so these are the normal, other approaches, just in a pictorial form, like physiology, which includes a doctor, nurse, dietitian, pharmacist in the hospital, seeing patients, lot of self-management support groups, which will take care of people in the community. We need good mass education so that people get used of it. And specific interventions, as I said, smoking, regular, regular health checkups is what has to be emphasized in the people. So these are best by interventions. These are some of the interventions which the government has to do, as like tobacco use. We have to increase the tax for these tobacco users, and we have to create more smoke-free environments. And coming to individual other aspects like cancer and all, we have to make sure that people get access to healthcare facility or where they can take preventive measures. Like for example, as I said before, cervical cancer is very common in Indian adults. So we need methods where, though there are a lot of methods in our country where they do regular pap smear and all, but I still feel there is a lot of lack, and we see people who come in advanced stages. So in early detection of the cases should be addressed, and we have to encourage people to get immunization, and this immunization needs to be, I think it has to be made free of cost so that people of rural population or people who cannot affordable can get these vaccines so that they can prevent themselves from getting the dreaded diseases. So, what are the challenges what we face in non-communicable diseases? There is a lot of limited healthcare workers. There is lack of unskilled persons. There is lack of management equipment. There is insufficient budgets, inequality in services delivery, and lack of proper referral and follow. These are the main challenges which we face, and these are the main challenges which is leading to development of non-communicable diseases. These are increasing. So we have to find methods to overcome all this. So, starting with this, thank you for the opportunity. We had very short time to prepare. So, if you have any questions, please come up with them. Hello.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable speech. If anyone has any doubt, they can type in the chat box. And also, the feedback link has been put in the chat box. Please fill it and get a certificate. This is the time for your doubt clear.
or any ideas also can be shared. As youngsters, you would be having a lot of ideas, so you can even come up with this kind of things, which would be very useful for you.
So there is no doubt. Let me go to the next step. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all the others. I invite Rajida ma'am to deliver the vote of thanks.
A very good evening to all. Now that we have reached the end of today's session,